All right, this is Karjaka coming at you live. This is episode 8. I haven't really been counting off the episodes, but the other ones before 8, and here we are with number 8. I've been getting some gifts of coffee. My father actually just sent me this clearance item, Death Wish Coffee Co. And so I'm curious to try this. I've got some other coffees that you've been sending me, so I will start featuring those as things go along. But I thought like this was interesting. Death Wish. That seems like a fairly intense cup of coffee. And it's pre-ground, which I'm curious to see the freshness, considering it's also on clearance, which is totally my father's style. Anyway, so that being said, I want to talk about, we'll fix it in post. I was on set the other day, and you'll often hear this with professional photo shoots, amateur photo shoots, any kind of photo shoot in general, is we'll fix it in post. And I have mixed feelings on that, and so I thought I'd share them with you, just as an aside. Like, I don't know about you, Justin, but I've never taken the perfect photograph. Like, I'm searching for that. Like, for me, I love the idea of being seen. Like, that's why we do these podcasts. That's why, like, I take photographs in general. Like, my why in the world is like, I want my clients and the people around me to feel truly seen, like how they see themselves on the inside, and just being in the space of vulnerability. And so that being said, it's like, I'm always searching for taking the, perfection, taking a perfect photo, which I know doesn't exist. It's impossible, right? So, but that being said, I think it's important that we try to get as close as we can. So if there are problems on set, like, and sometimes you don't have a lot of time, or you're in a bit of a rush, or you're on the street, or you're in the studio, or wherever you are, I come from the school of like, let's get it in camera. That's a technical term, like in camera, meaning like, let's get everything right in the frame right now, as much as we can. If we can get like 80, 90%, I'm a huge fan of like trying to get to that 100%, but I understand that sometimes we have limitations, or we don't have the right thing, or we need to do like different backgrounds or lighting. But at the end of the day, and a general understanding is that you're going, like, every photograph that you take, I mean, if you're trying to aspire to be a better photographer, is that you're always going to make adjustments, whether it's retouching, whether it's like cleaning things up, adding contrast, applying what color spectrum you want to your photograph, or if you want to throw into AI, or if you want to make designs out of it, or make a logo, or whatever it is, or make fine art printing. Like, there will be some sort of editing process. So there's never going to be, I mean, in my world to a certain extent, where I've never taken, like, outside of scanning, which even then scanning, there's still a little bit of work that needs to be done. Sometimes you do a little contrast work, or you're cleaning up dust, but there's always going to be, like, you're never going to just take a raw photo and you're never going to just put it out into the world. When people are like, I want the raw photos, like, you don't, like, your client and you don't want the raw photos. You want to eventually like compress them down into TIFFs, or, edit them in whatever software that you're using. And usually there's going to be some work. So it's hard enough just to take a good photograph, let alone then have to worry about, okay, like, in addition to all these things that are problems, which we didn't see, because now when you're looking at a photograph like that was on your camera or in your monitor, then like a week later, or however long, you come back to that photograph, and you're like, why did we do it this way? Why didn't I adjust that way? Or why didn't we fix this? Because you're thinking of 1,000 things going on in that moment, that sometimes we miss things, and that's normal. I've missed so much in my career. And when I go through image review with me and my team, I go, how the hell did we miss that? Can I say hell on this thing? Okay, we're going to run with that. How did we miss this? Where did this come from? Let alone knowing that there is a clear and critical problem that on top of all those unknown problems that needs to be fixed in addition. So it's like, for me, if I'm in a smaller space or if I'm in a larger space, like, sometimes I know I have to crop in, or that I'm going to have to retouch the background, which I hate doing, but I have to do a lot because you're on different sets and you're like, okay, we don't have this, or that's a weird window, or that's a block thing. We need to fix this. There's always some sort of retouching and adjustment that needs to be made. And so in addition to, this, like, I've done this countless times, even with stylists on board, where like the lapel's not great, or we didn't fix the lapel, or we fixed the lapel later, but it's the earlier photo that we like. So then we have to find the photo of the lapel that was good and then Photoshop that back in, retouch that back into the photo itself. So my advice to you is, when given the option, like when somebody says like, well, we'll fix it, don't worry about it, we'll fix it in post. Let's see, like take a couple extra beats, a couple extra seconds and be like, have we done everything in our possible world to fix this now before having to do it and retouching? Because sometimes, like when you're working on sets, commercial work, retouching and post-processing is a very expensive, like in time and money, venture. So everything that you can do in camera now is great, because you're not going to spend money or time later fixing it. And if you're an amateur, and you're just getting started, it's a different way of thinking. Like, make sure that we get, if you need to get lower, get lower. If you need to get tighter, because then you can adjust things accordingly later. There is a motorcycle going by. I'm sure we can hear that. That's fantastic. Anyway, that's something I can't retouch. I can't retouch the motorcycle out of this audio recording. Anyway, that's my thoughts on We'll Fix Them Post. If you want to know more, drop us some love in the comments or the DMs, and don't forget to subscribe. And this is Alex Karjaka of Karjaka Studios. We provide everything visually, digitally, printingly, and more. So don't forget to shout out and say hi. This is Alex wishing you happy snapping and get it in camera. Cheers.